Hey everyone, so today I want to talk backups. And if this isn't something that you have gotten into or been very good about, this is probably one of the most important things for you to be doing in this space. Now, I'm not going to talk wallets. There are a number of wallets out there. You can talk about the safety of which is better, which is worse, and all of that stuff. And that's something that I may cover in a later video. But for now, I want to talk about backups because your backups are going to be, in the end, the most important thing that saves your cryptocurrency in a time of crisis or if there's a fire. Because that's how I was reminded of this particular discussion point. Was a story that came up where a fire had destroyed about $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, or around 17 Bitcoin, of an individual, which was in a Reddit thread. And he had discussed how he had a solid state drive and he had all the physical copies and he had it all locked away and stored as safely as he thought. But when a fire came, it torched all the physical copies, it torched obviously the digital copies, and he was left with nothing. And that's a pretty nightmare scenario for anyone to deal with. And I'd like to prevent that from happening to you guys, if at all possible. Because again, in this space, the responsibility and the onus is on you, the cryptocurrency owner. There is no FDIC, there's no bank, there is no government, there is no one there to protect your assets if they are lost in a fire or somehow misplaced or damaged or whatever. So, the first thing, of course, is to have your digital copies. You'll export your private keys, you'll export your passphrases, put them into text files, save them into files on your computer, and then, of course, put them in, hopefully in a USB stick of some kind, and put that away in a safe, hopefully a fireproof safe. Then additionally, you're also going to want to print off all of your digital copies, all of your digital passphrases and private keys, yes, that hash number, that address, that's a million different numbers and letters. You'll want to print that off too and save that because, God forbid your digital copies are compromised in any way or corrupted. If for whatever reason, again, if there's, say, a flood or something like that, that can be more damage. That could actually damage your digital copies, but maybe spare your physical copies. So those are things to keep in mind as well. Your physical and digital copies help ensure to the most degree, or to the nth degree, that you're taking the proper precautions to protect your assets as best as humanly possible. But the last thing that I'll tell you, and this is what I've been doing, and I don't know if a lot of folks do this, but what I went and did, I went out and bought a bunch of these Cruiser Switch 8 gigabyte encrypted flash drives. They're super cheap. I think they're $8. And I bought a bunch of them. And what I've been doing is copying all of my crypto passwords and passphrases and all of my backups, even my wallets included, onto these encrypted USBs, again, encrypted, so I have a password that gets into those. And I've been storing them in various ways. I store one at my parents'. I store one here, obviously, as well. I've got a lockbox at a bank. Not the kind of the irony of that is interesting, but I also carry one around with me on my keychain at all times, because at the end of the day, if there is a fire or if the apocalypse breaks out and I can't get back and get access to my currencies, say I'm overseas and I'm unable to return, whatever the case may be, I'll always have my cryptocurrency with me at a moment's notice, right? And that is something I think that is important for us to get into the habit of, is making sure you're covering your bases and having your assets covered and protected as best as humanly possible. Having them in one location, as this gentleman did. And granted, he took probably every precaution that a lot of you guys take, having the digital copies and the physical copies. But at the end of the day, you can see that fire is it's the ultimate element. It can damage and destroy pretty much anything it comes across. Even in this situation where he took all the precautions necessary, he still lost everything, or at least lost everything he had stored within his own possession. So it's something for you guys to get into the mindset of, start protecting your assets in a manner that goes beyond, say, normalcy, and maybe even steps into a bit of a psychoticness, if that's a word, or probably isn't a word. But, go around, take this to your parents, take it to your brothers and sisters, drop them off here and there, have a drop, a box at a bank that you can lock away, and, just be creative. Make sure you're protecting yourself as best as possible, because if a fire comes and destroys it, again, there's no FDIC there to go, oh, well, this is what you're owed, so we'll give that to you. No, those are gone. And also you take them out of the ecosystem, and you don't want to necessarily do that if you can avoid it. So that's again, just something to keep in mind. good ways to protect yourselves. I'll pop a link for these little guys below. You can get these. They're super cheap. Like I said, $8, I think. If not, you can buy really nice ones, but they're really not needed. This has a great little interface. You can drag and drop your files right in, copy them up real quickly, and then you're off and running. I can do it in a matter of a couple minutes if I need to update my files before I step out for a road trip or something like that. So just, again, something to keep in mind. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any other tips or tricks you'd like to share, certainly let me know. Like and subscribe to the video as always. And because of this type of storage, what we like to do, or the reason why we got into it in the first place, is because we disregard fiat and we acquire Bitcoin so we can protect our Bitcoin. See you guys.